have here is Junior Asparagus, and he plays Darby in the show. And what we tried to do here is give Darby a classic farmhand look of the 30s or 40s. His shirt, we gave it a blue and white striped look to kind of mimic Dorothy's dress from the original show.
Yeah, just a lot of, we knew that this was a character very early on. I thought when we were going to do a parody that it was going to be like Laura Carrot or something like that being the main character, but we decided to go with Junior because everybody loves Junior.
This is Larry, and Larry plays the Tin Man in the show, and what I tried to do here was just kind of have some fun with the idea that Larry's the Tin Man and what would Larry wear, and usually what Larry would wear is very different than what most people would wear, so we tried to have a lot of fun with it and play around with the idea that he would just hop into a potbelly stove and wear that around as the Tin Man.
And something unique for this show is that we decided with all the major characters to remove the actual color of their vegetable skin that they normally have. And as you can see in Larry and in the other characters, we decided to just go full out, like we give Pa fur, we give the
Scarecrow burlap.
Yeah, Scarecrow gets the burlap, and this guy gets the tin, so he's got a little bit of rusty tin. So they still look like our characters, but, early on, this guy, Larry, actually just looked like Larry with some pieces of metal thrown on him, and then Phil Vischer saw that and said, "No, I really want to see these guys be fully the Tin Men, almost like they've taken it to complete transformation." So that's a very unique thing for our characters, especially in this show, and I think it's got a really nice look.
Mr. Lunt plays the Scarecrow in the show, and like Joe said, we had his actual skin take on the appearance of burlap and the color as well to really play off the fact that he is the Scarecrow, and it was fun designing him as the Scarecrow with the rough hat and the patches and the torn up clothes that you would find on a Scarecrow.
Pa as a lion. Now, it's not very easy to turn a grape into a lion, and we did our darndest. But I think what we got here is a pretty good solution here. We're playing around a lot with the mane on the character. In most of our shows, we don't tend to do a lot of real hair effects that you see in feature films, where it's a pretty expensive thing to actually generate real hair on characters. So we tend to try to find shapes that look like hair and then paint them to look like hair as well. So for us, the big challenge on this guy was how to get that mane to look like a lion's mane, and it was like going back and forth and looking like, oh, it just looks like he's got really long sideburns to a mohawk so I think we've eventually got ourselves down to a reasonable level. We still essentially kept Pa Grape because all his face features are there, but added that little tail on, which at first I think people were a little curious about whether or not we could get away with putting a tail on a veggie, but in the movie he's still very, very much Pa, and I think it's a fun. He's one of my favorite characters, and my hats off to the modeling team for doing a great job to retain the look of the drawing. Okay, and here's Tutu. One of the things, this is one of my first times where I actually got to do an animal character for a VeggieTales show, and so I really kind of got into it. I was actually looking at a lot of old Disney things where I saw how they did model sheets for getting pose expressions out of our character and really getting a sense of a range of emotion that this little guy could have. But the idea here was to keep him to be kind of like a dog, just like I believe Toto from the original Wizard of Oz, and and just to keep him cute. And it was a little bit of work trying to retain the cuteness as we went into modeling. But again, my hats off to the modeling team; did a fantastic job.
This is Yellow McToad, and the gag in the show is that they have to follow Yellow McToad instead of the Yellow Brick Road, and it was fun to get to do again a character with arms and legs, and what you can do with that in animation as well, and it was fun putting different outfits on, trying to figure out how to dress a toad so he feels like he's Scottish. But this came out real well, and hopefully we'll see him again in some other shows.
All right, this is Splenda, the low-fat fairy. Now, in the film, we decided to add a sparkly effect around the edges and everything. That was kind of fun to play around with. But Brian Roberts did a great job designing this character. Had a lot of fun with the hair, this was a character that the tough part about it was being able to hide the fact that she's got all this tower of hair above her when we first see her, because all we see is this globe coming down at us, and getting her to flip, and all of a sudden we see, oh wow, you get this gigantic hairdo, this 1950s crazy mountain of hairdo. I don't know, ladies, I wonder how long do you think it would take to get your hair to look that fashionable every morning?